We live in a world of many single people, but I also think that we're living in a world now more than ever that people are lacking connection. I think we've always lived in a world where we've had people that are single, of course, and I don't believe that people are going to be single forever. Even when you feel like, oh my God, maybe love isn't for me. But I believe that love takes work. And I'm going to talk about the reasons of why as a dating coach, as a relationship coach, as a life coach, being in this industry for so long, over 8 years now, what I've seen and just coaching and my practice over the years of why we get into empty relationships that lack connection more than ever now than these days. So if this is a video you want to see, I would continue to stay here. If this speaks to you, and if this is your first time viewing, click that subscribe channel now, because I can promise you, you're going to get some relatable and great content. So one of the things I want to really embrace and talk about is really superficial connections. I think are all-time high right now. And I think it's really because of the algorithm of life, the algorithm of the Instagram and all these filters that we have. And, I think that, smoothing out your skin is one thing. Then another is just like changing your whole eyes, your body type, your lips, your cheeks, everything. And it comes down in the world today as we emphasize so much on physical appearance and physical beauty. And as a woman, like it's hard to keep up with, like it's interesting because I'm going to get real with you guys. Like I've struggled with this my whole life because I also am a woman that loves to dress up and loves to look beautiful and loves to be like in her feminine so much. It's so fun for me as a woman, but there's also like this ulterior like pressure that I have because of doing YouTube videos, being professional and wanting to act the right way and do the right things. And at the same time, like being a mother, being an entrepreneur, being a wife, and at times, like there's women that can have baby and they lose weight right away. And with me, like that wasn't the case, right? I gained so much weight after my first pregnancy. And what was the most important to me was like I could feed my baby. I wanted to basically breastfeed my baby, TMI. And I had to eat more in order to regulate my supply. And I didn't care. I said, I don't give a shit. I am going to eat as much as I can because I want this moment with my baby. And now I've worked on losing it, but there's this pressure that we feel and today's emphasis. And I think men can really relate to this too, is that you feel so much pressure to look good, to be good. And goes over the deeper qualities of character. And so we get addicted to this appearance. We get addicted to shallow interactions. And this is all we know because we focus so much on surface level interactions and leaving like little room for meaningful connections. And I think this is where we might go wrong. Number two is social media and technology is what I talked about. I think social media is a great asset. I mean, obviously I can connect with you from all over the world. I mean, I wouldn't have a business if it wasn't for technology and social media. I wouldn't be able to create a business that fulfills my purpose. I think social media and technology are such a blessing. But I also know that there's always bad that's with good and always good with bad. And it's about how much attention are you giving to both. Social media lacks real connection. And a lot of us think that when we match with someone online, something's going to come out of it. But it gives us a false sense of connection because of likes, because of comments, because it's not really truly genuine connection. And so our mind doesn't understand like, why is this person talking to me? But then a week later we stop talking, right? And it really doesn't help us when it comes to connection. And the best part of our lives, honestly, are when we have realistic expectations and how to lead ourselves through technology, through social media, and understanding like, it can be a numbers game sometimes when we're online dating. It could be also too, like how much attention are we giving to social media models? How much attention are we giving to all of this like girls showing their butts on Instagram, right? Because that also is a direct reflection on what you're going to look at outside of dating. Number three is the fear of vulnerability. I think many of us have guarded hearts. We have great intentions, but we build emotional walls. And I think we build emotional walls because we're scared of being hurt. We're scared of being seen. It's really easy to love someone, but it's really hard to let someone love you. Let me repeat that. It is really easy to love someone, but one of the most hardest things is to let someone love you. That is true vulnerability. And I think many times when we open up, when we have a hard time opening up, it's a fear of rejection, a fear of past hurts. It comes from childhood trauma, not using our voice, or not being able to fulfill deeper connections within ourselves that we can't with other people. And I think we build up these emotional walls because it's a form of protection, but yet it doesn't make us happy. And many of us don't really get the help that's needed to kind of do the work to push those walls down because we're scared to face what maybe has been happened or scared to know the truth, right? And I think trauma work is really important to understand. Like, if you ever want to go through trauma work, I'm not a big believer in facing your trauma head on and going through the situation all over again. I'm really not that type of coach. And I know there's some coaches that won't believe that. I myself have done that work and I feel like it just made me a little bit more attached. I believe in like more of NLP and knowing how the human brain works and just kind of doing trauma work around that. And it's just really about retraining the subconscious mind, healing and giving attention to the parts of you that didn't before. And I think when we're in this culture of personal development, many of times we'll look at people online and we're like, they have all the answers. But I want you to know, like for me, I tell my clients all the time, like, gentlemen, I don't have all the answers, you do. I'm just your coach to get you there and give you the principles to find those answers. And I think that's why it gets so many significant results is because I have clients that just don't come back to me, not because they don't want to, it's because they don't need me really anymore. They come in for checkups, tune-ups, but it's really like they text me and they're like, here's a girl I'm dating, here's a picture, I proposed, love you, Apollonia, I was just thinking about you, Merry Christmas. Like, it's those type of checks-ins because they're able to be self-sufficient on their own. And I think that's the most important part of a coach, right? And you want to be the MVP of your life. And so I think also too, when we fear vulnerability, it's because like we're not visioning, how can I be the most valuable player in my life? Like, think about it right now, gentlemen. How can you be the most valuable player in your life? What would you get rid of today, or what would you do more of today? Think about that. Number 4 is the addiction to instant gratification. I mean, I'm addicted to Amazon. My husband makes fun of me because he's like, another Amazon package, Apollonia. But yeah, like I just need stuff. And it's true, like I do. I need the baby lotion, I need the baby protectors, I need the bulletproofing, the baby proofing for everything. And it's really important is like, sometimes we have this quick fix mentality because we have the surroundings that give us the quick fix. But we have to remember that in relationship, there's no instant gratification. We have it everywhere now. We can get our groceries delivered in most of the country. We can in Europe and Australia and most of like the countries that are really like technology savvy. You're going to notice that you're going to have a lot of instant gratification culture. And so we have this quick fix mentality where we want to date someone and they're going to be the one instantly. And so we have this mentality and we bring it into relationships that we start connecting with people that aren't supposed to be the ones for us. And so that's why we live in this dating world of apocalypse, because we have no standards sometimes for the women that we date. We have no guidance on like how to connect with people anymore. We lack acknowledging like beauty over substance. And it's interesting to me that so many times now more than ever, what I'm seeing in my coaching practice is men just want to feel connection, true connection with a woman more than ever. And I think it is the most important part of what I do. And with that said, I think something's changing, something's shifting for sure, because it always does. Every century does, and for the good. And number 5 is busy lifestyles. Many of us have busy lifestyles and we think like, we lack time and we prioritize work over relationships, or we prioritize other things over relationships. But it's really important, like when I made a decision that I wanted to find a husband. Like, I had to prioritize relationships. I had to prioritize dating. I remember when my now husband, he took a trip to New York sporadically, and so did I. And it ended up being on the same weekend. Like, I didn't plan it. And one of my girlfriends was with me, and we did like a 3-day trip, and he was there for like a week. And I just remember telling her, like, listen, I'm going to go and I'm going to meet this guy and spend a little bit of time with him. And over the 3 days, she's like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. And so I tried to kind of like negate my schedule and to please her a little bit. And I noticed that I was canceling plans with him, or I wasn't showing up to dinners. And then one night I was like, I'm not doing this anymore because my priority is to fall in love. And this man is showing me so much of the things that I would like in a man and a husband. So I'm going to make myself available to him. And that night I told her, like, listen, I'm not going to dinner with you. I'm going to go meet up with him. You can come with me, his friends. And I remember her just getting so mad at me. And in that moment, I was like, listen, I'm a good friend. But at the same time, as a friend in my life, like, I need you to be a good friend and support this because this is important to me. And so we went and I left her because she didn't want to come and she wanted to end up doing something else. And I remember just prioritizing my love life. And it's important to say this because that moment set our relationship off because we had so much fun that night. He was with his friends, we were dancing, and he just saw like what a vibe I was. And I think he really fell for me that night too. And it was just a picture story moment of just being in New York and sporadic moment. And it just happened to be like this. And it was just one of those moments that we'll always remember now in our marriage. And I think it's really important to understand, like, a woman or a man that chooses you, gentlemen, a woman that chooses you, gentlemen, is going to make time for you in those necessary moments. And so it's important that we don't prioritize like excuses for somebody. The next is a lot of us have a fear of commitment. Number 6 is a fear of commitment. I think we're living in a world that has avoidance for long-term bonds. We want the next best thing. We're always looking for the next best body, the next best girl. Okay, she's this, she's that, but I maybe can do better. That we're like in this paradox of choices. And I think this is where a lot of men get stuck and they become single for too long. And by the time they're 40, 50, 60, they finally want true love, or they finally settle for a woman that is kind of probably not the best for them. Number 7 is unrealistic expectations. Many of us live in a world of unrealistic expectations. And I really think it's because of comparison. But I also think that we live in a world of unrealistic expectations because for some reason, more than ever, people feel privileged in relationships. And let me explain. You think that because you're human, you're supposed to have love. Absolutely not. Love takes work within yourself in order to find it, plain and simple. And it's hard work, but it doesn't have to be so hard either. And I think one of the things that many of us lack is knowing what our ideal partner should be like. And we find it very difficult to have true, meaningful connection because we live in a culture fueled by social media, feelings of inadequacy sometimes when you don't have a specific thing that you just saw on social media. And I think this is really important, gentlemen, to take a lens if this is something that is happening to you. Number 8 is the breakdown of traditional dating. Guys, I am very big on this, and you know this. Like, I am such a traditional, I believe in the male and the female. I believe in masculine and feminine and polarity. I believe in all of this, okay? And I do believe in a gentleman leading the dating process. Now, I understand, gentlemen, that there's this new world of women stepping up and being like, I want to be doing the same thing as a man. I'm sorry, but I just don't agree with that. I don't want to be doing the same thing as a man. But what I will say is if I am out to feed for my own and I need to maintain a roof over my head and take care of my child, I will step in my masculinity and I will get shit done. Plain and simple as a woman. And I think that's more of a healthy component. But in the face of a man, a good man, I will then level down, not level down who I am as a woman, but I will level in his presence so he can become more superior than me and I can embrace my feminine and feel safe because underneath that is true love. And I know that I'm the backbone to make him flourish in life. And that is the biggest blessing and the biggest job I can have. And that is one of the things that traditional dating has diminished. And I think it's because women more than ever these days haven't felt safe with men. And there's statistics to prove it. And I'm not saying because I'm a male coach too. And I think that there's statistics to prove that male get abused, a lot of men get abused too. But just hear me out, gentlemen. And what I'm saying is like, one of the things that I really, really think that is important to understand no matter what is so many women have suffered from abuse in the hand of a man. And that's what is so jarring to me. I've been catcalled, I've been abused physically, mentally, emotionally by a man. And, it's not a direct reflection on all men though. But I had to heal that part of me to see that. And so we're walking around in this world with a bunch of unhealed men and women. And I think the reason why men have this anger that resides in them is because they haven't been seen or they haven't learned how to have a great relationship with themselves to nourish a relationship with a woman. And also too, women haven't healed from their past experiences to let good men in. And so when that good man does come in, we think it's just another way that a man is going to be. And so many men that I've seen have faced like the hardships of what other men have done to women. And I also am getting off the rail here because I'm talking about traditional dating, but this also comes down to healing, okay? Now let me go back to traditional dating. I think that the reason why traditional dating is just so like this shifting from the dating normals is because a lot of people are walking outside of this house or outside of your room, in the outside world with just traumas and carrying around that trauma and just bringing it in and just attracting that once again. And I think we have to heal that part of us, because when we are outside of our traditional dating norms, which is feeling safe, which is feeling led, which is the certainty to have confidence within yourself, which is the certainty to choose wisely, which is the certainty to say no if you don't want to have sex with a woman. Many men are like, I'm a chump if I don't, right? Because we live in this casual hookup culture, which is like, I don't understand it anymore, to be honest. I think when it comes to sexuality, I feel like it is such a intimate thing that I don't think it should be with everybody, but I also think that you can explore at times too, but you need to also remember, like, what are your values? I can't judge you for them, but what I will say is, for a man or for a woman, I think hookup culture is the ultimate death of connection. I really do. I think that it's really important that when you do have intimacy with someone, it's a more of a level of connection. The next one, number 9, is lack of emotional unavailability. Many times we have defense mechanisms. We're scared to share stories. We're scared to talk about ourselves. We don't even know how to share vulnerability. We don't even know how to connect. We don't even know how to go deeper in conversations anymore. This is huge as well. And number 10 is the pressure to conform. The society pressures to conform of like, I need to be married by now. I need to have children by now. I think that, like, marriage is great and all, but you don't have to be married to have a successful relationship, right? You don't have to have children to have a successful relationship, right? I think it really comes from religious beliefs. I got married because it was my devotion to my husband and to God and my belief system, right? And I think what's happening here is we're not understanding the reasons of why we get married. We're not understanding the reasons of why we want children. We just do it because it's supposed to be happening, or this is supposed to happen and it's supposed to conform, and we're just supposed to do this. And so we're supposed to just follow step 1, 2, and 3. But you can't just follow step 1, 2, 3 if you don't know the meaning behind it and why you want it, right? And that's where we're getting in this situation where we fit into molds of lifestyles. We fit into society pressures. And I think it's really important. I've coached many men that fit into society pressures of like Indian men and, Muslim men, as well as like, I have to get married by this certain age or else my mom is going to do an arranged marriage and all this stuff. And I don't want that. And it's like, I see it and I believe it. And I see the beauty in some of these religions as well. And I see the beauty in some of these ethical cultures as well, because there is great things that come out of it. But I also know that the only one that's going to have the answers is you. So if you want to stop lacking from connection in dating, I think it's really, really healthy for you to be more connected with yourself first. The reason why I think we're lacking so much connection in dating, to sum it all up, is because we're lacking connection within our true selves. We place blame on everything else that's going on around us. Oh, women are like this now, or people are like this. But in all actuality, it's true, but that more you water it, the more you will see it and the more it'll grow in your life. But whatever happened to opening up the other door to saying, okay, well, women are like this now, but there's also women that aren't. I want to track that. How can I better myself and my lifestyle and my mindset and my personal development to attract that gentleman? So if this speaks to you, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button. I kind of went on a rant on this video. I'm trying to do some little different sources of videos for you, gentlemen, to really go deeper into topics for you to kind of get my head and knowledge into like the way I think, the way I coach, because I think it's important, especially if you're thinking about hiring me as a coach or working with me. I think it's really important that you find a coach that actually, touches you or really understands like the process of what you may feeling or going through as well. So as always, if you want to book a call with me and get on a clarity call with me to see if we can work together, I'll put that link right below. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Remember, you are always loved. Bye for now.